Hi there and welcome to the channel. I'm Slate and today I'm going to talk about Soulstones, not directly but indirectly, in the fact that they are some of the rarest resources in the game and the only way really to reliably get them is via the guild boss rewards. Now, in order to maximize your chances, you want to make sure that you are doing the 3 chests, and yes, spoiler alert, it is absolutely worth the 200 gems every day to make sure you're hitting both Nightmare 3, Nightmare 4 and Abyss, and that is because 1, you typically get a 200 diamond reward at least out of one of your chests, which covers, that day's key. And the other thing, like I said, because polished and unpolished soulstones are so rare in this game and so valuable, maximizing your chances to get them by hitting all 3 chests is really important. And also, ever since they introduced this fragments, again, making sure that you can do that is incredibly helpful. Now, the focus of today's video is going to be on Abyss, and that is because, in all honesty, even just getting that 5k is going to help you push rewards. But I think a lot of accounts can actually get the 12 to 22k if you understand how the Abyss mechanics work. So what we're going to do today is focus on how to adapt your account to tackle Abyss for the first time.
So we're going to talk today about Abyss and, more importantly, how to tackle it when you don't necessarily have the meta lineup. Because obviously, if you look at any of the sort of squads, combination of Watcher Infernal, Watcher Esoteric, Nightmare, Esoteric, Nightmare, Infernal. And mainly using Solkadon's Nastia, Ingrid, Leia, or Rygar. It's interesting how the meta has shifted. You've got these very top scores now using Leia, which is quite cool. But the main thing is obviously there are lots of heroes in here that it's like very specific mechanics. So we're going to also make sure that we talk about the mechanics of Abyss and go through the sort of main principles. Now, the first thing you're going to need is some kind of parry unit. And why do I say that? It's because of the meteoric deluge. And obviously the king of Abyss himself is Kagiri. Kagiri just is going into your squad if you are doing Abyss. But the question is, if you don't have Kagiri, what do you do? And there's only really 2 other options. The other is Salazar. He's got a weird thing on his ult where he can survive the damage, but he doesn't do very good damage himself. And then the other one to really talk about is going to be the Tactician class, because you can move them out of the way, which is very, very handy. And we do love a Moradin, and I do have a video specifically on how to use Moradin in Abyss. But you could technically use any of the others. I have tried Astral. It's just not great. Now, the other thing obviously is going to be healing, because healing is a nightmare. And AoE damage reduction, Fercy is fantastic. A1 Narissa is fantastic. Leia is also lovely for healing. Aelin is just the easiest for big heals through the damage. Like, Aelin does make life a lot easier. And then I've seen some people using an Elwyn. A little bit harder to get the big heals out on her, but she can be used for that. And then the only other one really worth noting, technically not a healer, is Dao Chen. I mean, yeah, she is technically a healer, but you're in there for the inspiration. And really you want to get her to A1 because it is this big girl range, which makes placements so much easier. So we definitely do that. And then, yes, the other one to note who is not a platform, but a ground unit, is the little superstar Traylon. She is fantastic at keeping your heroes alive. And if you have her A1, it's even better because she creates a damage increase for your team as well, which really, 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 really helps. Even if she's not A1, she's going to help with survivability. And then you can also use Constance for inspiration if you are needing a ground version. Obviously, there are different things, but again, Dao Chan A1 would be the key. Obviously, it would be A3, A1, A0, then using a Constance, then, you could definitely use things. And yeah, speaking of Draylon, absolutely right. You can use her as the buffer, as that extra unit that goes near your tank, because she's going to be able to tank it as well, even if you build her as a healer. Now, talking about tanks, because you are going to need someone who is going to tank the hits, the main thing to do is to try and have someone that brings in something else for your team. So Torador was a really easy starting example with the fact that he inflicts this defense reduction, which is going to help your physical DPS do more damage, which we love. We love when we do that. A couple of other fantastic options are going to be in the same sort of vein is going to be Maximise. I found Maximise really hard to try and use compared to where is the bull boy himself? Where is he? Where is that really grumpy man? Ares. He has the basic attack doing that. So as long as you made him go more than 3 seconds, he was going to do it. And then in his ultimate, he can also put out an extra vulnerability, which is really nice as well. But the amazing thing is you don't actually have to use a defender. Like you see with the fighters, you can bring that in. So obviously, Rygar is another option definitely in there with that defense reduction. He comes in. And then the other thing is I've seen people use Cassiel if you're going for an Arbiter route. I've seen people use Erlang because of the debuffs that he puts out. So basically, when you're looking at who's going to like tank your hits, obviously you've got to make sure that they can survive taking a hit. But also you want to look to see what they can do as well. So there is definitely options like that. And then it is about your DPS. So we've talked about survivability, a weird mechanic, and then it is DPS. And basically, Abyss, you have to be able to do physical damage and magical damage. And one thing I would definitely say when you are approaching Abyss is understanding that physical damage is going to help you progress further than magical damage. And why do I say that? Because it goes physical magic, physical magic. But if you have a very strong physical team, then it means that you can push your damage higher as long as you're able to at least break that first magic shield. And usually that first magic shield can be broken with just a couple of good magic damage dealers. So if you are sort of like struggling a bit, you can really push the physical side of things effectively up to that basically fourth shield or that second magic shield. And then sort of like call it quits there. Now, in terms of DPS options, first up, physical, your boy Kagiri is going to do an absolute ton of damage. Not only does he do that parry that I talked about, but he is probably going to be one of your best damage dealers. It is well worth bringing him to A5 if you have the Emperor Soulstones for exactly that reason. Next up is going to be his like counterpart essentially, and that is Wukong. He is fantastic as well. Other physical damage dealers that really stand out is actually going to be Moradin down here on the bottom here. He's really good as well. And pretty much, funnily enough, those three can hard carry most of your physical requirements. Other options, Lucius is great. He's a little bit RNG, but he can be very helpful. If you are bringing in an off-meta team, Silas is going to be great. And if you're going Infernal, Setram is fantastic as well. And he also has a bit of a shield break in there as to help with that. If you don't have any of those options, and if you don't have that, you can bring in any other type of single target physical dealer. Arrogance is nice because of the burning, and with his incoming buff, I think he will be quite strong again as well. Volker, if you want, she also has a debuff, which can help the damage reduction if you're struggling with survivability. She's a really nice early option. I think they're the main ones to point out in terms of physical. And then in terms of magic, you are looking at Phineas. He's fantastic. Again, if you have his exclusive weapon, he can do that damage reduction. Numera, Queen of the Poison DPS, in terms of she will just absolutely nuke whatever poisons are up. She is amazing. Other options that we are looking at in terms of magic, we're going to go down to the piercers, and that is going to be Vaughn. He's really nice. He also buffs your fighters, so that can be very helpful in that respect. Hex is really nice, especially at A3. He can really push what he can get out. And then into the mages, we're going to obviously be talking about Solkadens with his high burst damage, Nastia with her poison and support that she can do. Also, she just does a ton of damage there as well. And then I'm trying to think, Ingrid is another option as well. She's not great in terms of Abyss, but being a Watcher Lord, she can be like a secondary magic DPS. I don't think you can rely on her unless you have her A5
5 and you're just trying to do that very first shield. And then trying to think of others. I think that's basically mostly it, to be completely honest, for now. But who knows? Again, rotate through. Pretus, yeah, you could absolutely run an Arbiter squad. It's not very meta, but I have seen people hit the 22 to 35k comfortably with that as well.
Unfortunately, Abyss is one of those pieces of content where it is a bit what I call hero locked. You do need specific types of hero in order to really easily push up into it, into the high levels. But yeah, it's a little bit tricky, but it's all right. So you have to go, well, I don't have any of those. 60k is unlikely to happen, but there's nothing saying you can't do a 5k or a 22k or 35k key, and that middle ground is sort of where I want to focus our efforts on. So we're going to have a little look-see here and see if we can create a team. So we're going to have those two, obviously bringing in the wonderful Gacha, almost at A3, which is really nice. And then we do have a baby Draylin, which we could bring in as well. I'm going to put her in here just as a check. And then if we go ESO, because we've got A2 Numera, we've got Vaughn, both top. We then have Vixera. She can come in. Now, the only thing I don't know is whether we do A0 Narissa or we do A0 Fercy, because I know A1 Narissa always beats out A0 Fercy. Also, we need to check how many ground units, because you can do 5/5 comps and you can do 6 full comps depending. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll try this team. We're going to see how we get on with this team to start with. So obviously, in terms of gearing, big boy gets the big boy damage stuff. We got it all with Leia, otherwise people are going to die before the storm surge. Yeah, they died anyway. Okay. And now we're dead. But like, this is the thing. If you're not sure, so for example, I've not used Leia in an Abyss comp before. And so it is a bit sort of being like, well, I need her to heal. So you can experiment and figure it out if you're not following a comp exactly. I always like to say, see what you can do, what you can shift. And yeah, I just find it quite helpful. So here's a quick tip. If you're ever like unsure about what people are using, just have a look and see. Oh, they're in her exclusive. Oh, she's in a healing effect ring. We don't have the stuff, but that would make sense. Anyone not using her in exclusive? No, everyone is using her in exclusive. That makes sense. Yeah, I think you're right, Zine. I think we're going to change his team up. Ingrid and Aelin. Right, let's do this. This should be a lot smoother. But this is where I'm not sure if we have got enough physical. Yes, we do. What are you talking about? Yes, we do. Come on. Come on. That was amazing. That is the power of an A5 Wukong. And an A5 Kikiri. Oh, he's so worth putting stones into. Right. 22,000, basically, just like that. And then it should be... Can we now get the 35? If we break this magic, we should. I'm not sure we break the next physical, but I guess that's what we'll find out. Elves of Bellow, or with Aelin. Aelin does just make this so smooth with the amount of healing that she does. But yeah, you could replace her. It's just as you get in, it's a bit harder to... We're going to save their ults for the big slam. Narissa, Vixera, Numera, and let's see if we can melt this shield. I don't think we're going to melt it. Oh, I don't think we've got it. No. So that's our wall. Okay, that's our wall. That's fine. What you can do is then go, okay, don't have the magic. So what you can do instead is work out what the minimum would be. So let's say you wanted to min-max this team more. you would then find out what the minimum you would need to break that first magic shield is, and then bring as much physical DPS in as possible to try and maximize your score before the second magic shield. So on my account, I managed to do that, and that's what got me my 35k score, knowing that I couldn't break that second magic shield. And then, yeah, it is things like Ingrid is not hitting the Overlord doing that, so you would want to go and tweak the attack speed, or see when it would be. You could try Vixera in DPS, but like I said, when I've tried her in DPS, it just hasn't, she's not put out much at all. So at least that is a nice from 0 to 22k. My current Abyss squad is like 35-37k. I have no Nastia, no Vaughn, no Solkadens, no Phineas, no, like, I am running the most out of the box. It's not completely out of the box, but I'm running a Raka. I'm running a Raka. And it's great. There's no way I'm close to 60. I do not have the heroes for it. When you look at something like Abyss, I do think it looks quite intimidating when you are starting to think about it. If you're like, I haven't given it a go, because you look at it and you've got people just absolutely smashing it, but with very repetitive and specific teams. And so it's almost like, well, if I don't have that team, I'm not sure I can get to 60k. And it's like, probably not, to be completely honest, because it's not just having the right heroes. It's going to be having, amazing gear. Obviously, they don't save the gear in order to get it. And then even more to get these, crazy high scores. But the first chest definitely is easy. And I think 22 is just a really achievable level for a lot of people who are end game accounts, who you've done that 50k nightmare and you're now pushing up into it. I think the jump from 22 to 35 is a gear check, hero check. That does happen. And then 60k is even more so. But I do think these lower, and they are so worth doing it because the rewards are absolutely fantastic. So this is what I'm saying about why you do it. So that one, no 200 gems. That one, no 200 gems. What did I get today? And that one does 200 gems. So I typically find that at least out of... Oh, thank you. I find that at least one of my 3 chests, I get the 200, which covers doing the 3 keys, which is 100% worth it when you can get the rarest resource, which are these unpolished soulstones, and polished soulstones. Is 100% worth every single day.
So yeah, I think that about wraps things up on how to basically tackle Abyss. Now, I am aware that the account takeover that I showcased has most of the meta lineup, and I think, it just sort of goes to show how intimidating Abyss can be. It's like, well, I've got most of the heroes, but not all the heroes. I'm not even sure I can start. And the fact is, you can just start, you can just go for it. But really, just to say, that bottom chest, that 5k team, you can probably do it very min-max. Do let me know in the comments below if you would like me to do a 5k Abyss chest in terms of, min-max, I guess, or like without X heroes, that type of stuff. But yeah, anyway, do let me know if you want a more specific thing there. And yeah, hopefully this helps. Like I said, it is absolutely worth the 200 gems to hit these every day and get those lovely rewards, including your chance at a unpolished and polished soulstone. But yeah, anyway, do let me know in the comments below, how are you getting on with Abyss, and is there any specific help that you need in that? Thank you so much for watching. Do like and subscribe if you haven't already. I look forward to seeing you in the next video and the next live stream. So until then, take care and bye for now.